Hello all you whiskey dreamers, this is Mark from Whiskey Whistle bringing you whiskey review number 42. With us today is, oh what? That's not whiskey. Oh my, well it's a soju review in the style of a whiskey review, okay? Today we're going to be looking at a Korean soju brand, a fairly new one, although it has really risen to prominence in the last, I guess, 12 years, and it is called Hwayo. Hwayo. So Hwa, if you can say that one, and Yo, like yo man. Okay, so Hwayo Soju, a Korean soju brand from South Korea. And I quite like it. I really like this brand. They have quite a few different expressions, and I have only tried a couple of them. I'm really hoping to try a few more. You can see them rolling around on the screen there. Anyway, so if you're new here to Whiskey Whistle, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you are one of the returning subscribers coming back again and again, thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. If you have any comments or suggestions, please feel free to make a comment down below. You have to scroll down a little bit to get to the comments area and leave me a message, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can, okay? Typically within a few hours, depending on the time difference. I am here in Seoul, South Korea, so depending on where you are, we may be off by as many as 12 hours, in fact. Well, that's the most it could be off. Pardon me. And yes, as you can guess, I've been getting over a bit of a cold. I really do apologize. It's on its last legs. All that's left is a little bit of dry hacking now and again. So if my voice is a little raspy, hopefully that is an enhancement. Anyway. All right, so Hwayo Soju. I've mentioned this is from Korea. Soju seems to be indigenous to Korea, although it is not dissimilar, and in fact probably like one and the same as shochu from Japan and some other rice-based spirits that are available in other Asian countries over here. It is distilled, and in fact, as far as what the distillate is, you can probably consider this to be very much similar to New Make or White Dog or whatever name you want to choose, Moonshine, whatever name you'd like to choose for unaged grain spirits. It is grain. It is 100% Korean rice based. It's fermented just like the mash would be fermented, and then it's distilled. Now, distilled. There's a little picture there. I couldn't get a better one. There's a little picture there of it. It seems to be a combination pot and column, and I believe it's fashioned in possibly stainless steel, although perhaps the inside is copper. I'm not sure. I've been contacting the company. Hopefully, I'll get hear back from them very soon. So anyway, now let me just bring that a little bit closer for you to have a look at. There's a tiny little 50 milliliter bottle, 50 milliliter bottle that I found just recently. I actually did buy a 700 milliliter bottle for a Lunar New Year, but ended up polishing that off with my father-in-law. So anyway, I've resorted to looking at the minis, and I've got two of them. This one was distilled in 2011 or bottled in 2011, and this one in 2015. So as you may guess, I'm going to compare and see if there's any difference in flavor between the two. I'm guessing there might be. We'll find out. I have already done a bit of research with the older bottle, so we'll talk about that. I've got a little bit left in there, about 20 milliliters, just enough to taste. So we will get into that. Anyway, before I pour, there's going to be a short little commercial, a little advertisement right here. And I hope that wasn't too annoying. Again, I will repeat that one more time. Any revenue that I do receive for such advertisements will only be used to continue making new whiskey reviews for you, at least for the foreseeable future. Okay? Anyway, so we're going to start by opening up the newest one. And what can I read for you on the front of this before I do that? Hwayo, the rediscovered pure taste of Korean distilled spirits with a 700-year tradition. 41% alcohol by volume. It says 41 degrees there. And on the back, there's some Korean there. Why don't I read that to you since I can? 화요는 전통 도자기의 명가 광주요에서 우리 쌀로 정성 들여 빚어낸 맑고 깊은 맛이 증류 소주입니다. Now, if you're Korean, you're watching that one that was a little bumpy. Well, it is very small letters, and there's a few words that I'm not that familiar with there. Anyway, basically what they're telling you is the makers of some very traditional Korean pottery, the maker is called Gwangjuyo, so that's the name of a company that makes Korean pottery. They decided to, well, I'll tell you the story, but very briefly, they're using Korean rice, which they call our rice, and then it's been properly fermented, and then finally it's a clear and deep tasting, rich tasting distilled soju. Okay, so that's what that says there. And as I mentioned, 100% Jingnu Wanek, 100% distilled spirits. Okay, and then there's water added as well, and that is it. Okay. All right. Oh yeah, I was going to pour that one. Haha. Okay, let's open that up. Pardon me. What a strange cold that was. My body was fine. I had a runny nose. I had a terrible scratchy throat for a while, but I felt totally normal. I just couldn't talk very well. And then now it's been about 2 weeks now, and all the other symptoms are gone except for this dry hacking cough. Okay, so there we go. Let's give it a little bit of a pour. That should be enough. Oh yes, almost drained it. And as you can see, it is absolutely clear. Okay. And it is chill filtered. And one reason for that is typically soju is consumed very cold. Why didn't I switch that? And thanks to one subscriber, I have added some soundproofing to my little traditional tray that I've got going on here. Okay, so not much to see, absolutely clear. If you can, I'm not sure how clear that is for you, but I'll roll that around a little bit and then we'll have a look at what happens there. And you can see some very fine legs or tears falling down there. And well, according to my eyes, you can also see some beading or pearling going on at the top rim where the edge was. So it hasn't been excessively chill filtered. Otherwise, it doesn't seem to do that if it's really heavily chill filtered. Okay, and I can already smell it. It's got a light, zesty, fruity, sort of a vegetal note, so a combination of, well, we'll talk about that, but cucumber is something that I really notice in this one. Oh yeah. It is reminiscent of white rum and cucumber in there, green tea. What else did I write here? I wrote grain. It does smell quite fresh also. There's a slight bit of wood smokiness in the background of that. Okay, well, this would not be aged very long, not more than about 3 or 6 months, I believe. And they age it in, well, traditional clay pots that Gwangjuyo makes. So that's interesting. And you can see a picture of that rolling around as well, which you can find on the Hwayo website. That's HWAYO.com. Hwayo.com. Have a look. It looks like it's all in Korean, but up in the right-hand corner, you'll see an English button. So click on that. Now, a word of caution, and the people at Hwayo, if you are listening, I do hope you would have someone maybe update a little bit of the wording on your English website. I believe you're going to be exporting a lot more of this as time goes on, so it's best to really get that spot on as far as the translation is concerned. And if you're interested, I would be happy to help you if you're listening. I doubt you are. Maybe you are. But anyway, you can contact me, and I would be very interested in meeting you and helping you maybe revamp the wording of that, that English website. Okay. All right. So let's taste that now. Cheers to the people at Gwangjuyo and Hwayo. Great job with this wonderful soju. And cheers to all of you. Definitely cucumber. Also, which I'm just noticing right now as I'm tasting this with you, maybe it's because I'm getting over my cold finally, but what I'm tasting is something called a chamwe. What's chamwe? Chamwe is it's a yellow melon, orange yellow melon. It's striped, kind of like I guess that's a musk melon or a watermelon, so it's striped. It's yellow and white. It is roughly maybe the size of 2 fists. It's about that big. And it is basically Korea's, well, national melon, if there is one. If there is a national melon, that's what it is. Of course, they do also grow watermelon here, but I mean, they grow watermelon everywhere. The chamwe seems to be a very, well, I'm not sure about other parts here in Eastern Asia, but it is big in Korea. And if you do get a chance to try it, please do. Chamwe. So Chamye, maybe would be the English spelling of that one. Maybe I will put a link to Wikipedia, which will probably have some information about the chamwe. Anyway, so I'm tasting chamwe in there. And the nose and the palate are not really dissimilar. And the longer you leave it on your tongue, the more of that melon flavor comes through. There still is some green tea in there as well. So cucumber, this kind of melon, And that melon is not dissimilar to, let's say, a honeydew, but maybe an underripe, not totally underripe, but a little bit underripe honeydew. Or the honeydew as you get closer to the rind, where the color gets a little bit whiter. What else have I written here? Vegetal for the palate. Vegetal, cucumber, green tea, sour, sweet, and savory. Now, this was the 2011 version that I had initially tasted. So maybe I should have probably, I don't know. I wanted to open it on camera though, so that's what I decided to do. The savory note. Well, again, that's the cucumber adding something, and the green tea effect as well. The finish is medium. It's not very long. It's fairly new spirit. Not really aged that long. Mint, apples, and it's a little bit buttery. Buttery meaning, well, it's got an oiliness to it as far as the mouthfeel is concerned. Okay. Right. Okay. Now I'm going to pour the rest of the older one, 2011. Into my Kilt Lifters Scotch Club glass. That's from Winnipeg. Oh, and for those of you who have been watching for a while, watching Whiskey Whistle here on YouTube for a while, or if you've been following me on Twitter, that's also Whiskey Whistle, at Whiskey Whistle, ampersand. Ampersand? No. What's that called? Goodness. I know the Korean word, 골뱅이. Shoot. What is that stupid thing called? Well, the one that means kind of like at. So, that's squirrely A and then Whiskey Whistle. No E on whistle. No E on whiskey. Pardon me for the coughing. Okay. Yeah, this one is slightly more savory. A little more cucumber than melon. This one's a little bit more peppery. What I think has happened is they have really improved their cuts as the distillation comes out of the still, how they decide to cut it, which part, the front, the heads, or the tails, or the heart. But you know, I did like the 2011 version as well. Let me just taste the 2015 one more time just to get my bearings straight. Okay. Maybe a little spoonful of water. Maybe one more. Okay. All right, and now there will be another little advertisement right here. Okay, so let's see how that compares taste-wise to the 2011. I already mentioned the nose, a little bit spicier. More cucumber and less melon. It's a bit drier. that's for sure. And just a little different, not wholly so. Slightly more fruity in the newer version. Slightly more savory and a little bit peppery, but both very, very enjoyable. Okay, now what I will do is add a bit of water. It's 41%, so we don't need very much. I'm going to put in a little bit less than 1 teaspoonful here, so 4 milliliters. And we'll add just a dash of this one because it's got a little bit less in there. There we are. Oh, I was going to say, so if you have been following on Twitter or on Facebook, Whiskey Whistle on Facebook, well, you'll notice that there's been a big event in my life in the last, the last 8 days. What's that, you're wondering? Well, I would like to announce the birth of my 3rd child, and her name is May Karen. So May Karen Kaufman, she was born on February 12th, Friday, February 12th, at 8:30 in the morning here in Korean Standard Time. So that's about 15 hours behind, so about 5:30 p.m. On February 11th, Central Standard Time in USA and Canada. Anyway, so she's very healthy, and Mum is also recovering very well. They're both doing great. If you do hear a little bit of a, well, if you hear a baby crying, that's why. Anyway, so yes, that's my 3rd daughter, in fact. Not just 3 children, but 3 daughters. And, well, so 4, 2, and a week old now. Those are the ages. If you have older daughters and you want to make some recommendations, why not send me a message? And I'd love to hear what you have to say about raising 3 lovely daughters. So when you add a bit of water, the savory notes come out a little bit more. So a little bit back to the cucumber and that sort of slightly buttery nose and flavor that I found. Okay, and we'll taste it one more time. Yeah, little. Pardon me. Can I speak today? A little bit less sweet, and more cucumber. A little bit more spice in there too. Some light pepper tones. And the finish, pretty much unchanged. It's very pleasant, very cleanly made. There is nothing that's going to offend you as far as the flavors of this soju. What about the older bottling? Still a bit drier. It's interesting. I think if you're familiar with Korean soju, the green bottled ones, which sell for $1 for a half bottle, like 370 milliliters, 380 at supermarkets. 20% alcohol by volume, mostly neutral grain spirits with a little bit of soju added for flavor, along with sugar and other additives. If you've tried that, then you know what the state of Korean soju is. Not very good. And if you were to go to this one, you would recognize that it's soju. So the flavors that they're trying to emulate with whatever additives they're putting into the mass-marketed, cheap, I don't want to say anything too negative, but those products, they're trying to emulate the flavors that exist in something such as this. And boy, I cannot have those green bottles again. So, you know, when I first came to Korea, it was great. $1 for that volume of alcohol is extremely cheap. You wonder why. Why is it so cheap? I won't politicize this, but I think there's more than one reason why. The companies that make those, and by the way, those green bottles, in fact, are the highest selling alcoholic beverages by volume, you know, as far as the brand is concerned, brand by brand. So those two brands, I'll just mention their names, Jinro, or Jillo here in Korea, that's the way that's pronounced. So Jillo Soju, that's called Tam-isel. Tam means real, isel means dew, so real dew. And the other one is called 처음처럼. 처음 means first, or the beginning, and 처럼 means like or similar to. So 처음처럼, like the beginning. Anyway, so those two brands are number 1 and 2 volume in the world in terms of highest volume selling brand of alcoholic beverage. And they range from 17% up to about 40. You can find some of them at 40. Anyway, very lovely. It's worth trying, and I think that if you are someone who likes a variety of different alcohol, you will like this particular kind of soju. And the older one reminds me a little more of white rum. And that could be simply because of the way they cut the distillation as it came out of the still. Anyway, both quite lovely. If you can find the older one, you get something a little bit spicier. The newer one's a little bit more fruity, with some nice melon flavors and cucumber. And they're both enjoyable. They will work very nicely with Korean barbecue if you like that. And I know a lot of you do, because there are so many Korean barbecue restaurants opening up all over the world. I wonder how many are opening up per day. It's probably, you know, on the order of 5 or 10 new Korean barbecue restaurants opening across the globe every day. I'm serious. It could be something like that anyway. Don't quote me on that. Anything else to mention? No, not really. Oh, a few of the other products. The one you're seeing right now, the black bottle there, that is their 53% like cask strength version. And I'm very, very interested in trying that one. It's got a dragon drawing on it. It's also available here in a white porcelain fine china bottle. And there it is in the glass version. And so 53%, so something much akin to a cask strength version. And then here, what is this one? This one is aged, it looks as though it's been aged for 5 years in oak casks. So you could almost consider that to be a rice whiskey. And Hwayo, this is telling us where does the name Hwayo come from. Long story short, Soju So is a Chinese character that has two parts, and those parts separated is Hwayo. So that's how they got that. And they talk a lot about the basic elements, earth and fire and water. Those are the most important elements that there are. And these things are part of what makes soju so famous and makes Hwayo one of the best of its kind. Okay, I hope to do another soju review soon, one called Andong Soju. So I'll do one of those very soon. And then a little bit further along, there's another interesting kind of a soju, although it's not made with rice. It is called munpesul. So we'll try that one. Oh, that's bad, eh? Oh my goodness. Pardon me. Anyway, how about a score for this soju? It deserves a solid 84 out of 100. It's high quality, very well made. I think probably the 53% will be something that will knock my socks off. And I'm going to try to find one soon. Likewise with the oak cask aged X Premium, it's called. A little weird putting the word premium on the bottle. Again, that's kind of an Asian thing, put the word premium on there so people know it's premium rather than let them taste it and see that it's premium. But anyway, again, whatever English they put on there is really just for marketing purposes. Although, again, as they expand, because it is expanding, they're going to have to maybe do some changes to the websites, as I mentioned, maybe also to the name of that gorgeous oak cask aged Hwayo Soju. Okay, so 84 out of 100, that's the Whiskey Whistle Soju score for Hwayo. Excellent job for the people at Gwangjuyo and at Hwayo. And if you've watched until now, thank you so much. Please tune in again. We will be going back to Scotch. This time it will be a blended Scotch and a very famous one. We've seen that before here on Whiskey Whistle. Okay, so no more teasers. Tune in again. And if you do want to subscribe, you can click here at the bottom in the corner there. Just click on my little picture and you'll automatically subscribe to Whiskey Whistle. Thanks again and have yourselves a great day or night, whatever it is where you are.